This is Mr. Stratton talking, and this is your next big assignment. It's pretty much your last big assignment for the semester. This is where you get actually put together your own social media plan, and you set up how you're going to network with potential employers, and you also set up the impression you're going to create online. Your assignment is listed in the social media plan assignment description, which is on D2L. And if you go down to page about 3 or so of that assignment description, you'll see a list of all the different sections that social media plan should entail. And that's what I'm going to do today is I'm going to go through a social media plan that I created. This was for a business, but it's still the same, pretty much the same concept as I'm asking you all to create. And I'll lead you step by step through the different sections of this as outlined in your assignment description. Now, again, I just want to reemphasize, this is a social media plan for the Academic Support Center at Cardinal Stritch University, where I used to work. So this means it'll be slightly different than yours because yours is your personal social media plan. Nonetheless, your plan will be formatted in the same way and have the same sections. So if you recall from your assignment description, just pull up the letter of transmittal assignment. It says this is pretty much your cover letter that lets people know what the social media plan is going to entail. It pretty much provides a preview for all the sections that you're going to address, and it gives us a sense of the overall purpose. So here is my letter of transmittal example. I set it up in a memo format. You can use the same exact format. Single space, block format. Any business letter or memo is going to be block format. There's no need to indent. And I use bullet points, which again is a good solid strategy for memos. The bullet points essentially provide a layout of what my social media plan is going to address. And I'm going to ask you to talk about these same things. I'm going to ask you to talk about the purpose of your social media plan. And it should be related to creating some kind of impression in potential employers to try to get you a job. I also want you to be thinking about the market position. This is the position where you are in relation to other people who may be competing with you for the job and how they're approaching trying to get the job with these particular companies. Think about your goals. This is incredibly important because you're going to talk about the methods and the metrics that you're going to use. The methods you're going to use for accomplishing the goals and the metrics for measuring the goals. So, for example, since yours is a social media plan for the job search, one of your goals could be to increase my LinkedIn network by 10 relevant contacts. The nice thing about a goal like that is it's very specific, it's very measurable, it talks about the exact number of contacts that you want to get. Another thing that would be nice to do is to actually have a deadline for that. So one goal could be, as I just said, increase my LinkedIn networks with relevant contacts by the end or by the middle of May. And then again, you'll be able to measure how well you're achieving that and then talk about some metrics for measuring that. And then I want you to be talking about the social media platforms that you're going to use. And that could be anything from blogging to Facebook to LinkedIn. You'll definitely use LinkedIn since this is for a working position. You also may be talking about your use of Twitter, for example. Whatever those platforms may be, and you'll be discussing why you're using them. And then you'll talk a little bit about the content of your social media messages, the tone that you plan to use, the style you're going to incorporate in your social media messages, and also what type of information are you going to share. Are you going to use this as an opportunity to share your knowledge about a particular field? Or are you going to use this as an opportunity to provide people with advice so it enhances your credibility, etc.? So again, this is going to be your first section of your social media plan, and it's the letter that basically just talks about what you're trying to accomplish, which according to the assignment description is the letter of transmittal. Next, you'll see on the assignment description, you've got a title page. That one for this project looks like this. You'll notice that it's very basic. There's lots of space, and it just provides a label and the author's name and the company you're working for. Now, you're not going to provide a company you're working for because you're doing this for yourself. So really, you're just going to be addressing the social media plan, and if you have some kind of name to the plan, and then your name. You'll notice that I've took a little liberty with colors and shapes here. You can certainly do that. It all comes down to your audience. If your audience tends to value a contemporary look, let's say maybe your audience is the advertising industry and the people who work in advertising, well, they may value then an unorthodox or irreverent approach to a cover page, maybe one that uses humor. So it really comes down to who you want to be intrigued by this cover page and what you're trying to accomplish in expressing the cover page. So that's the second component I'm going to be asking you for in your social media plan, which is the title page. And that's, again, is listed in your assignment description. Your third section then is going to be your table of contents. This is self-explanatory. You simply will mention the different sections you're going to address and the page numbers on which those appear. Now, I'd encourage you to play around with some of the features on Microsoft Word 2013 because it can set up a table of contents for you that continually updates as your pages change. And I believe the way that you can locate that information is by going to, let me pull up Microsoft Word real quick because I've done this quite a bit. So let's see, you would be going to references, I think. And then, yep, so under the references link, you'll go to table of contents. Let me just pull that screen in for you real quick if I can. All right. So you'll notice I'm in references link, and you'll see here that I've got an option of inserting a table of contents, and then that's going to lead me to another menu. I know it's taking a little bit of time because I'm recording it. Okay. And so here is how you might want your table of contents to be formatted. You can also do a customized table of contents, etc. So again, the real benefit of this is going to automatically update your different pages as you express them, as you change them, as you make revisions. And that's a really good way because a nice table of contents would be one where your viewer can simply link to the different sections. And this table of contents feature in Microsoft Word will allow you to do that. So that's going to be the third component of your social media plan. Again, by the way, this is not going to be due next time. You're just in the preliminary stages. This is going to be due the last week of class, the entire social media plan. Okay, so after your table of contents, there's going to be an introduction and what I called an executive summary. Let's skip the executive summary. And let's actually, don't worry about that. Let's have you go to the introduction itself. This is going to be similar to your cover page, your cover letter originally, but it's going to talk a little bit more about your philosophy of social media and what social media means to you. This is going to be a good opportunity for you to include what you've learned in the class, to show off the knowledge that you learned from the Social Networking for Career Success book and what you've learned in some of the readings. And then you're going to be talking about how you're going to use the affordances of social media, such as its ability to engage with crowds or how it's personal. And your purpose is going to be, you're going to tell us what your purpose is going to be to accomplish using social media. Now, purpose has to be very specific, and it's similar to goals. Okay, now again, in this case, I put organizational purpose because remember, I'm doing this for a company, but you will put individual purpose. All right, and so these are ultimately what you're going to be trying to accomplish, the end result you want. So, yeah, you want to get a job, but let's think a little bit smaller than that. That's really the big picture thing. What do you want to do that will lead you to that job? Do you want to create for yourself a easily recognized persona on blogs, for example, where people start to get to know you because of your blogs, because you've updated them regularly, because you've provided interesting information, etc.? Or what else? Or is it more of a personal purpose that you're trying to do? Maybe one of your purposes is going to be to get potential employers engaged with the things that you believe in. Or one of your purposes may be to impress your potential employers with the discussions of your experiences that you've had in the workplace, if you've had a lot of experiences. I know there's a number of students in the class who've been in professional workplaces for a long time. and that might be one of the purposes as well. So that's your statement of individual purpose that would come next. After your statement of individual purpose, you'll be looking into your market position. This is pretty much where you stand with what the rest of the world is doing. So think about what other people who are trying to get your job are doing on social media. For example, let's say you want to be a journalist in a local newspaper. Well, you could look a little bit at what current journalists at local newspapers are doing. You can also look at what potential journalists are doing on blogging and on social media. And you can situate yourself within that. You can situate yourself within the context of what other people who are in similar positions to you are doing on social media. Next, we go down to after your market position. You can discuss in the market position in detail what some other people are actually doing. You could say their particular names. Let's say there's someone who's out there who's doing blogging and his name is Mark Smith. You can actually use that as a sub-headline, and you can provide a brief analysis of Mark Smith and what he's doing. You'll notice I did it here for different companies. I talked about what Concordia University is doing similar to what Cardinal Stritch is doing, what Wisconsin Lutheran is doing similar to Stritch, etc. And again, the difference for you is that you're going to look at individuals rather than companies. So list a few individuals and talk about what they're doing. One thing that'll come in handy for this is the social media analysis that I asked you to do a couple of weeks ago, where you looked at a particular social media presence and you analyzed the audience and purpose and context of that social media presence. You can definitely use that format, audience, purpose, and context. So who is the individual that you're analyzing? What audience does he seem to have, and how does he appeal to their values? What is that individual actually trying to accomplish, and how's that individual going about doing it? So talking about the tools and the platform that individual is using. Again, if you need some more information, you can go to page 2 of the assignment description. This is the bullet point called Statement of Market Position. Now, again, you'll notice a lot of things that are similar to a statement of goals, and that's by design. Purposes and goals are very similar, but really this is the cornerstone of your social media plan. There should be about 3 solid SMART goals. SMART goals stands for specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and timely. So what are you trying to accomplish, and how much time are you going to try to accomplish it, and how you're going to measure it? So you'll see in this example, I've got my first goal, and I talk about what the social media plan is going to try to do. And after that, I talk about the methods for how I'm going to accomplish that plan or that goal. And then I go into the metrics, which is going to be how I'm going to measure that. This is really important. This will come back to what we talked about with data analysis and data visualization. Are you going to use charts and graphs to measure this? Are you going to use quantitative statistics? Are you simply going to use qualitative quotes for how well you're doing? So for example, let's say one of your goals was to impress blog readers with your knowledge of the film industry. What you could use for qualitative measurement for that could be something like comments from people, for example. Comments you can put there as quotations in your social media plan that you're going to use to measure, etc. Okay, and then here's the second goal, and again, I just mentioned that you should have 3 or 4 really distinct and really specific goals, and then in each goal, talk about step by step how you're going to achieve those goals. So how are you going to bridge that gap from where you are right now in your social media plan to specifically where you want to be in your social media plan, and then how are you going to assess how well you achieve those goals using charts, using graphs, using qualitative research. So that's going to be your statement of goals section. Again, that's on page 2 of your assignment description. And now we're going to get into talking about the actual tools and platforms that you're going to use in this social media plan. So this is a context element of your social media plan. Your assignment description calls this your selection of channels. What social media platforms do you need to be on, given what your goals were? So for example, let's say my goal is going to be to engage at least 20 potential accountants in discussions about the accounting industry, for example. I just threw that out there. Well, maybe the ideal platform for that would be blogging, because you'll be posting your content and you'll be looking at other people's comments on that content. However,